Hey athletes, what's going on? Brandon Brown here, physical therapist and wellness coach. Get your fixed physical therapy, get your fixed nutrition, CrossFit coach with CrossFit Majestic, and I work with CrossFitters and runners to get you from injury to PR in 8 to 12 weeks. So I'm doing this behind the training scenes series, talking through what I do on kind of a daily, weekly, monthly basis in order to maintain my ability to train, keep myself from getting injured, and essentially be able to continue performing well and hit PRs. So today I want to talk about mobility and why this area is so important to me for a number of reasons. And then I'm going to show you some of my absolute favorite ones that I do at least on a weekly basis. So first and foremost, why mobility? This area is hounded upon a lot by me, but a lot of therapists, coaches, people realize the importance of it. The question is why, that people don't understand. And first and foremost, just from a performance standpoint alone, if you can improve your mobility, you will hit PRs, guaranteed. Because here's the thing. Have you tried to get into a front squat or do a clean, but you can't keep your torso upright, so you're leaning forward all the time? That can be a mobility issue. There's a lot of issues that it could be as far as like trunk control and stability and that sort of thing, but a lot of people I see, it's like they can't get their elbows up because they can't get their shoulders to move high enough, because they can't extend their spine. They don't have the hip mobility to actually get in the position. They don't have the ankle mobility to actually get in that full depth squat because their ankles aren't allowing it. So if you don't have the mobility to hit your positions, your strength, or what you assume is a strength issue, is actually a mobility issue, and that's why your weights aren't getting any heavier. There's a lot of people I've worked with that once we get their mobility better and they're able to hit positions, their strength goes up. A client just left here who could not get a full depth squat for the life of him prior to seeing me, and he just bypassed one of our other masters athletes. They're both masters athletes. He just bypassed one of them with his squat this past week, and he's been about 20-30 pounds under it up until now. So, and then that's just a mobility and being able to get in that position, because they're both training the same. They're both doing private sessions with our coaches. So nothing has really changed per se as far as his training being more intense. It's all a matter of he's able to get into the positions. The muscles are able to work like they're supposed to. The body's able to work like it's supposed to, and so he's able to hit PRs. Same thing goes for when we're talking about things on the bar, kipping and that sort of thing. If we're talking about overhead squats, that's a huge one. If you don't have the mobility to get those arms up in that overhead position to keep that torso upright, you're not going to be able to support that bar to get there in the snatch in the first place any heavier. And then you're especially not going to be able to control it coming down if you can't keep that bar up overhead. So if you don't have the mobility, you're essentially doing a detriment to yourself if you do want to continue training, hitting these PRs. If you don't care about PRs, then do your thing. But if you really want to improve, you're going to have to do mobility work in order to get there. I will tell you myself personally, I really started focusing on mobility probably about 3 years ago is when I really started making sure I got it done at least once a week, if not more frequently. And I noticed my positions improving really quickly. I was able to move the bar easier with different things. I was able to get my gymnastics drills a lot easier. So just improving the mobility helps you get your positions, which naturally helps you perform better because you're more efficient at things. You're more effective at your movements, and just overall, you can just perform. Your body feels stronger because you can move better. So that's my reasoning for really working the mobility. Along with that, it does prevent injuries. As a clinician, that's my big thing, is preventing the injuries. A lot of times upper back stiffness in that upper back can cause a lot of shoulder things. Stiffness in the hips and the ankles can cause a lot of knee issues. So there is an injury standpoint to this. But me as an athlete, It's twofold. It is preventing the injuries, but it's also making sure I can hit my positions in order to perform like I want to. So there's 3 areas that I will hit every time I'm doing mobility. And then after that, it just kind of depends on how my body feels based on how the week has been. So I'm going to go over hips, then ankles, and then we'll do the upper back. So first off with the hips. So I start off typically doing my pinwheels. So we're going to put one foot forward and then one back. So the foot and the lower leg are in line. And I'll just run through each of these really quickly, but you're going to keep one hand planted. You'll come forward over that thigh, hold for a couple seconds, and then come backwards, rotating, trying to plant your hand, keeping your knees down. And you're going to hold a couple seconds at each position. 10 times there, and then you'll reverse and do 10 times that way. After I do that, I do my cross leg position. So with that cross leg, I put one foot on top, and then you bring the other one back so you maintain your nice upright posture. And you're gonna bring it back as far as you can and still stay upright. If this is all you can do, that leg's pretty straight, that's perfectly fine. Just work over time on bringing that further in. It took me probably about 6 months to go from this position to your ultimate goal, which is this position. And that was 6 months of me working on it every single day. So just something to think about. But I hold this for 2 minutes, and then I'll release it, stretch them out, and then do the other way for 2 minutes. So I do the pinwheels, and I do those every single time I do mobility work. From there, I do my ankles. So for the ankles, I'm going to do my kneeling, feet flat on the ground, and sitting back. I hold that for 2 minutes, and then I'll flip the toes under and sit back. This one's a little more uncomfortable. I can hold it now for 2 minutes without any issues, but it's one that when you start out doing it, 15 to 30 seconds is going to be most you can tolerate. So if that's the case, do like 4 sets of 30 seconds or 8 sets of 15, so you get a total of 2 minute hold on there. The other one, let me grab a band really fast, I forgot to grab it. So the other one I have a little thing to get this in the door. If you're at the CrossFit box, you can tie a band up to a rig. If you're at your house and you have something sturdy, you can definitely tie a band up to anything sturdy. But you're gonna go near the floor. Take my sock off so my foot doesn't slide. And then from there, you're gonna bring it out just below the bones of the ankle. Keep that heel down, and you're just gonna hang out there. So you're getting a little stretch on the band, hanging out there, letting that band pull back on that ankle a little bit for mobility purposes, hanging out there for 2 minutes. So those are my 3 go-tos for the ankle. I do those weekly. And like I said, I do more depending on how my body feels. And then the last one is the upper back. So there's a sequence I do with the upper back. I start at the bottom of the spine, arms wrapped around me, and then I rock side to side. And then I shift a little bit, rock side to side. So I'll do like 4 or 5 rocks back and forth, all the way up to the base of the neck. When I'm at the top of the spine, hands behind the head, and then I'm going straight down with everything above, keeping that butt off the floor. And I work all the way down to the bottom of the rib cage with that. So those are all of mine that I absolutely do every week. And then depending on how I feel, depends on what else I do. To whether it's shoulders, more upper back, more hips, more ankles, you name it. So if you have any questions on any of these, definitely post those on here. If there's anything that you absolutely love and do on a regular basis, post that on here. I'd love to hear about that as well. And as usual, if you have any specific questions for me, feel free to reach out to me via Facebook Messenger. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. So I hope you're having an amazing day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.